happy morning to everyone present here. Hope you're all comfortable. And oh, if you find the room's a bit chilly, I'm sorry for that. Do you guys find it strange that I'm apologizing for something I'm not responsible for? Well, that's how I've been for the past couple of years. Doesn't sound like a big deal, does it? But imagine feeling sorry for everything. Literally everything. If the fault was mine, if it was not, if it's yours, his or hers, I'd end up saying sorry. But why did I do that? Why is it even being talked about right now? I'm gonna let you ponder upon that for a while. It's Govishri who's going to give voice in front of you for the next few minutes. Now, let's quickly jump on to a hospital scene where the doctor is dealing with a 3 to 5-year-old kid who's here to get herself vaccinated. Now, what's the next picture in our minds? She's screaming, her face all red, and tears rolling down. But what if I told you the kid rolled the sleeves up on her own and got jabbed with a smile on her face? Don't drop your jaws yet. Wait until I tell you the kid was none other than me. Unbelievable! I know. That's exactly how I felt when my mom first told it to me. But not until my doctor agreed too. I was on cloud 9. I did not only feel proud for being such a courageous kid, but also ashamed for not being the same anymore. But it's not on me. I blame Adrenaline for all of that. It all started when it spiked up. Oh, and for those of you who are unaware of Mr. Adrenaline, he's one of many hormones in our body who performs multiple tasks, and one of which is to protect us from danger, also known as the flight or fight hormone. For instance, when you see a car rushing towards you, you just don't stand there and stare, but instead jump out of the way in the blink of an eye. That reflex response is generated by adrenaline. Wait a minute. Did I just make him sound like a hero? No way. Hold on. Remember when your hands were trembling, your body felt all sweaty, and stomach filled with butterflies? When you appeared for your boards, tried to talk in front of a crowd, or maybe just even to your favorite person? That's him. He's the one who embarrasses us. He's definitely not a hero, at least not for me. The levels of adrenaline are usually high during adolescence, which is between the age of 10 to 19 approximately. And that's when children go through a lot of physical changes, a roller coaster of emotions, and psychological highs and lows. Everyone has their own way of handling it. And for me, it sure was a tough nut to crack. And that's when I developed the fear of being judged. Oh, come on. It's not something unusual. Do we not hear our teachers say, the school's got visitors today, so be on your best behavior? Doesn't our mom warn us about how to behave in front of the guests? Doesn't she act a little extra kind in front of them? There it is. They're afraid too. Deep down, every being around us has this fear in them. But the intensity is what truly matters. In extreme conditions, it's called the social anxiety disorder. But let's not go to such extremes now, but rather with some mild symptoms, which include intense worry about humiliating or embarrassing yourself, avoiding situations where you might be the center of attention. Oh, not areas where you're under the spotlight on the stage like me, but rather when you're hesitant to even enter a room that is already settled. Deeply trying to analyze your flaws after social interaction and getting stuck on a negative feedback loop, and over apologizing. Sadly, I faced most of them. I cared more about the impression I painted on everyone else's mind except mine. Now, this did not only refrain me from trying new things, but also forced me to blend in so that I don't stick out like a sore thumb. The sail was almost smooth until that day when I was being judged by one of my closest friends for a mistake I never committed. I was framed as silent, though I was the victim. Without even being given a chance to explain myself, I was forced to cut contact with one of my favorite friends whom I thought would stand by my side till the end. Now, this intensified the fear of being alone. I realized I had to lock the door before any other walked away too. So I became a doormat. And that's when Wait, now don't expect a typical. I learned the lesson, moved on, and lived a happily ever after. Because it isn't a fairy tale, but life, specifically a teens. And trust me when I say, sometimes when you try to make lemonades with the lemons life gave you, doesn't always not rushing, but pungent. Now, would it be too much to ask you guys not to judge me for the fact that I nearly lost all of my friends while trying to handle the loss of one? How on earth, if that's what's on your mind? I've got an answer. When the anxiety of loneliness took over, all that mattered to me back then was to make sure I'm being accepted and not alone. Because for some strange reason, I strongly believe that people who are not a part of big friend groups are boring. And of course, I don't want anyone to assume I'm dull. So, I join discussions I'd rather not to fit within this squad. I'd agree with opinions I differ from to avoid appearing odd. I use their eyes to see myself because I didn't value mine. I'd smile along with slurs just to stay alive. I'd give out prizes I don't believe because who dislikes cheer? I'd say sorry though I'm hurt to keep the bond alive. How does it sound like? The traits of a people pleaser? That's exactly what the anxiety grew me into. I began masking my emotions, letting people around take advantage. This lasted for quite some time. But there will be a day when the mask has to rip, right? It did. Being too exhausted from all the sacrifices, when I finally spoke up, nobody was ready to hear. They chose to walk away instead. And that's exactly when I faced everything I feared at once, straight on my face. I was not being feared anymore, but rather bullied, bulldozed, and badmouthed. The social butterfly could make everyone smile by scamming them with prizes was nowhere to be found. The following weeks, no less strong. I lost track on everything academics, myself, and whatnot. It took me forever just to even accept that I'm left alone. But as time passed, and once my brain knew it had no escape, it came up with changes that actually made my day better at school. For example, carrying a book around. Now, this would not only keep me occupied, but also make it seem like I chose to be alone and not like they ditched me. It wasn't too long before I began craving social interaction. I mean, who wouldn't feel envious when you see all your peers chilling in gangs and you're just in the corner of a room with a boring book? This led me to make friends with people whom I wouldn't even consider talking to because I feared I would be judged for hanging out with them as I assumed them to be boring. But turned out to be the sweetest beings I've ever met. I felt sun shine on me after ages. I realized being alone was not so bad. Definitely not as bad as I feared it would be. And so was being judged or criticized. I also realized how silly I was to be afraid to left alone because it in fact was a whole new experience that did not only gather me new friends but also taught me lessons that I otherwise couldn't have learned. Now that I went through what I feared and felt like it's a no big deal, it hit me. Once you face your fear, it no longer is your fear. That evoked me to chase my phobias, face, and overcome. I began spending time alone on purpose. I volunteered to try things I'm unfamiliar with. I prioritized doing what I like. And that's how I fought against my phobia, and I still am. Now, in this journey, little did I know I happened to follow one of the psychological therapy methods used to treat phobic patients. Exposure therapy is where patients are exposed to their phobias through a step-by-step process under a safe and controlled environment only by their therapist, just so they realize what they feared might make them feel uncomfortable, disgusting, or maybe even panic, but would never harm them at all costs. Now it made sense to me more than ever. We all have our own ethics of breaking barriers, right? Because we don't face hurdles of the same height, and of course, they require their own way to chip it down. At the end of the day, I believe being exposed to what you fear, dislike, and avoid are one of the best and bravest ways of overcoming obstacles. Because that's when it all permanently vanishes. Or who knows, might even end up being your new favorite thing to do, just like it did to me. Now, have I entirely killed the fear of being judged? No. But I'm fighting for it. That must explain why I'm here today. Now, I'm proud that I broke the fear of being judged by you. Thank you.